Possibly the most hated thing in this game besides the Regera, the R8, and now the Viha is the Burst NOS mechanic. We all know what it is, and we all know how good people can be when they know how to use it correctly. But one thing that I haven't really seen people discuss on a deeper level is if it should either stay in Need for Speed Unbound and be an exclusive, or be kept in the series and transferred to the next game. I dropped a poll on the channel, and with over 100 votes, 73% of y'all said that it should continue in the next game, and 27% of y'all said it should stay in Unbound. I read through a lot of the reasons behind what choice you guys have picked, and in this video I am going to explain my reasoning for my choice as well as try and answer a few concerns that were brought up with Burst NOS in Unbound currently, and what it could do to future games. First things first, I 100% believe that Burst NOS should continue in the series, and the reason for that is actually a few reasons. First, this is the first Need for Speed game that had a mechanic that really was able to separate the good players from the great players, and that is what I love. The skill gap is pretty massive regarding being able to use Burst NOS correctly, and even to this day, people are still learning new skills and tricks to really master it. Games can get very boring very quickly if there's nothing to progress towards. Burst NOS was something that can give players a new edge to learn over being faster than others, and it had the ability to change the whole dynamic of a race. That kind of goes into the second reason, and that is that Burst NOS gave a new spark to racing that, in my opinion, had previously become mundane. There was nothing new from one game to the next. It was just racing on tracks, turning, and using NOS bottles. Now we have a method to increase our speeds around corners, burst through cops and traffic, get a last minute boost to pass other racers with draft. All of that stuff is due to Burst NOS. It's no longer just regular racing, and some may call that a gimmick, but so be it. It's a fun one. I think the main factor of if Burst NOS can be in the next game or not is definitely what the map is, right? If the map is filled with smaller tracks and not a lot of room to move around, then Burst NOS may not be the best option for that game. The point being that Burst NOS should not be taking away from the game, it should simply be enhancing it. When you use it, it should not be impractical to use on 99% of tracks in the game. It should be designed in a way that can increase the amount of fun and technicality you need to race a track correctly. And I think what Unbound did was perfect. You do not need Burst NOS to race on any track in the game. If there was an option to turn it off completely, you could race every single race just fine. Granted, it would be slower, but it's 100% doable. But the tracks and the way the map is designed makes Burst NOS enhance the way you drive, and it doesn't seem like a chore to use it, or in better terms, awkward to use. If the map and overall design of the game can handle adding Burst NOS, then it should be there. One issue a lot of people seem to have is they don't like how the meta is formed around microdrifting and farming Burst NOS. What I say to that, and what I've always said to that from day one, is that microdrifting is not new. It has been in Heat, it was in Payback, it was in Hot Pursuit Remastered, it has been in games for a very long time. The only difference from those games to this game is that one, it's visual and you can actually see your microdrifts now, and two, the microdrifts actually build towards something on top of keeping better speed through turns. If it wasn't Burst NOS, it was going to be something else, I promise. Meta in video games exists regardless of what creates it. If Burst NOS was not in the game, then people would have figured out how to farm regular NOS, or farm literally anything else to become faster. And that is where the skill gap for Burst NOS really shines. The ability and precision it takes to farm Burst NOS, microdrift, and maintain speed all at the same time is incredible, and it takes a lot of practice to do it correctly. This is what separates the average racers from the real deal players. Many people think that Burst NOS is a plug and play sort of easy thing to do, and it couldn't be farther from the truth. One more thing before we go to the next point is that when faster players farm microdrift, it is in the motion of what you would be doing on the track 99% of the time anyway. Of course, you have the moments where it is a straight and you have to farm for Burst NOS back and forth, but a lot of time we are microdrifting around corners and turns where those movements would be required anyway. It is almost second nature to farm Burst NOS, and it really doesn't take away from the actual racing experience at all, despite what people may think. The next big thing people brought up was how it would impact casual racers if brought to the next game. I mean, it couldn't really be any different from how it impacted casual players in Unbound, would it? Casual players have the same opportunity to learn this mechanic as everyone else, and you cannot punish players who take the time to learn how to use Burst NOS simply because there are those who either can't or won't take the time to master the skills. One person said that Tron turning and microdrifting should be removed from Burst NOS to balance it out for casuals, but the whole thing is that this is a racing game, right? In racing, we have winners and and we have losers. The game is not designed to be fair to all audiences all the time. Tron turning is a byproduct of the power of Burst NOS and being able to use it correctly around turns by controlling the angle in which you shoot forward. It is not easy to do and is a pretty risky tactic for a very high reward. I don't think it is possible to have Burst NOS still be classified as Burst NOS and not have the ability to Tron turn. That would mean that they would have to nerf the power of the boost to the levels of around a 1 bar, and that's only a little bit above regular blue NOS. The point of Burst NOS is to give a quick boost of speed that is faster than the regular blue NOS we get. As for microdrifting, the act of that in itself is maintaining half grip and half drift. You are not in a full drift where you are taking an angle, but you are still gripping around the corner, just not as heavily as 100% grip. Why would you not get the bonus for both if you are doing both? The last thing is how gimmicky it is. Yes, Burst NOS is a gimmick, just like how Hot Pursuit Tech is a gimmick in the older Need for Speeds, or how microdrifting has been a gimmick since the beginning of the series. Every single racing game period will have and has had a gimmick, and I would even say that without one, a lot of people would be bored of the game very quickly. As said before, you can use Burst NOS to be faster than normal against other racers. If you want to call that a gimmick, then by all means. But everyone has the same opportunity to use that gimmick. It should not have to stay in one game, simply because it is something that is required to be faster. In that case, manual shouldn't be in the next game, and tuning shouldn't be in the next game. Those are both things that players are better at than others, and that affects their ability to be faster than those who aren't as good. To bring it home though, I think that Burst NOS should be continued in the series as long as the next game's map allows for it to be used without it being a chore or awkward to use. No need for nerfs, no need to change anything, just copy and paste, and that is all is needed. If you enjoyed, make sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and if you have anything to add, leave a comment below. I will see you all in the next video.